Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the All Star Wrestling Review Series for the 14th of April 1984. Man, can you see a major difference in the programming here versus even 1983? Much sleeker production, much more aggressive production, and obviously, kind of the highlight of Hulk Hogan. He's in your opening segment, 3 months into his championship run here. And he's already kind of a major force to be had in the pro wrestling ranks, to say the very least. And we go to the opening bout: Tito Santana and Israel Matilda. Tito Santana is your Intercontinental Champion at this time period, and basic match, non-title in nature. Obviously, wanting to get the champion on the card. Hogan and Santana are your champions. I believe the U.S. Express might be your champions, or even this might be the time for Johnson and Atlas too. Lots of babyface heavy stuff here in '84, trying to establish the babyfaces as worth cheering for, so to speak. Gene Okerlund on the microphone, which is also notable because he, for the last several years, had been the voice of the American Wrestling Association, the AWA. Santana laying on his opponent with a side headlock takeover. Not exactly the most exciting thing, but he does manage to hit the flying forearm for his trouble going forward, and actually does very much get a victory for the Intercontinental Champion, even though he's not defending the championship. And Santana goes off into the wild blue yonder, getting the victory that he needs in order to be able to be okay with things. We go into almost an update style segment with Vince McMahon hyping Mr. Wonderful and how not so wonderful he is. Hyping that he, in fact, is a major challenger for Hulk Hogan. Cowboy Bob Orton is up next. Orton, of course, second generation superstar. Cowboy Bob Orton Sr. is, I don't know if he was a cowboy, but he certainly is the father of the family. Jose Luis Rivera is the opponent for Cowboy Bob. Cowboy Bob, of course, becoming sometime later the bodyguard for Roddy Piper. Piper had been the manager for Orton, and Orton doesn't need long, maybe about 3 minutes to get a victory here with superplex included. Orton looks to be in $1 million worth of shape here and does not take a backward step to anyone or anything for that matter. Also, the particular episode I'm watching had the commercials at the time. 6-man tag team match here. SD Jones, Rocky Johnson, Tony Atlas are your 6-man baby faces here. And obviously, they are facing Ron Shaw, Tony Colon, and John Calhoun. Not exactly going to be a match worth writing home about. Jones cuts the ring off for the baby faces. Rocky Johnson comes in. Johnson very much close to his national limit. I think he is done by 1985. Atomic drop by Tony Atlas, who stays on the arm of his adversary and does the best he can to do same. And then we see Atlas coming in and double teaming Rocky Johnson and Atlas do eventually become your short-term tag team champions, but backstage issues get in the way. Having talked with Tony Atlas about that, he had a very cantankerous relationship with Rocky Johnson, who, during the next stage of this particular contest, gets beaten down pretty heavily by his adversary. Double back body drop by Atlas and Johnson in the next little while here. Cutting off the ring, trying to keep things as basic as possible. And SD Jones comes back in for a little bit, hits a headbutt, and eventually the baby faces do get a victory soon thereafter. Atlas, of course, a contributing factor to that. Gene Okerlund up next with some matches for the upcoming Garden card. Sergeant Slaughter to face off against the Iron Sheik. Somewhere in the middle here, Slaughter's turned babyface, doing the G.I. Joe thing. Going to face off with the Iron Sheik. Boot camp style match is what we've got coming. And Greg Valentine wants to get his hands on Hulk Hogan, wants to get his hands on Santana. Valentine wearing a suit and looking pretty impressive. Interesting that Captain Lou Albano is the manager for Valentine here. Madison Square Garden on April 23rd with a 9 p.m. bell time. Certainly targeted to adults still here with a 9 p.m. bell time. You're not going to bring the kids out for something that's not going to end until 11:30, I wouldn't imagine. But that all is going to change, I would also imagine, pretty quickly within the next couple of months. But maybe the Garden had to have the later bell time. Anyway, Francisco Vasquez facing off against Dr. D. David Schultz. Schultz managed by Roddy Piper. Amazing to think that Vince McMahon at one time thought Piper was too small to be an effective wrestler for his troupe of merriment makers. That just is surprising to lots of people for lots of reasons here. Schultz and Orndorff actually are in a tag match here. Johnny Rivera is providing half of the opposition alongside another enhancement talent. And again, Dr. D. David Schultz coming from the AWA. Lots of people coming over from the AWA. Story legend has it that Vince offered to buy Vern Gagne out, and Vern said no and told him in no uncertain terms where to go and how to get there. Anyway, Orndorff and Schultz pretty aggressively with back elbows and the like. Piper on the outside trying to get himself over when he really doesn't have a microphone or another way to do it quite yet. That's all going to change in a matter of months with Piper's Pit. Pile driver and a power slam befall the opponents, and needless to say, Schultz going to the second rope on the inside, hits a diving elbow, thing of beauty for a guy his size. Needless to say, the Heels and Piper are victorious here. Frankie Williams out next. Highlights of him on Piper's Pit. Piper has like I said, had the pit, but they gave him Williams to try and get him to fail almost. Obviously, that was not the plan, and Piper attacks Williams for challenging him, being disrespectful, apparently. One of the hangmen is here, Johnny Ringo, or looks like a hangman, and obviously not a super thing to write home about there. Terry Daniels is the opponent of Johnny Ringo, and that is nothing to write home about either. Of course, Private Terry Daniels, the protege of one Sergeant Slaughter, who is now a babyface, having trouble getting Ringo over. Ringo did not bump very well for a backdrop, and Daniels stumbling around after the backdrop. Dropping of the elbow several times across the adversary, and we've got Daniels goes forward with a sunset flip and gets a victory off of that particular maneuver. Happy and in good shape is Terry Daniels. Sergeant Slaughter looks on approvingly from the ringside area, even getting a replay of a basic sunset flip here in 1984. And again, kind of going to hyping the Garden, among other things, here in 1984, and many more commercials. Hulk Hogan wrestling, which is an odd thing for the syndicated shows, but still trying to get him over. Just noted as champion, of course, 3 months in, and doing an enhancement match, obviously getting ready for the shift of things. Enhancement match with one of the head shrinkers. I believe Samu is the head shrinker of note. Sika is the head shrinker of note. Hogan does a basic Hogan match. Everybody kind of knows what that is. Power moves along the way. Hogan with a body slam. Hogan trying to dominate the match and does exactly that. kind of uses a bit more of an axe bomber. Hogan in '84 more athletic than he is in later years, and kind of adjusting the tights. Lou Albano out there with the adversary and a leg drop and a win for the Hulkster. They highlight the body slam as a big thing because his opponent is north of 300 pounds, and that's worth it to see. Gene Okerlund continues to hype upcoming card at the Garden. Madison Square Garden, a big deal. The Iron Sheik out there with Ayatollah Blast. He promises to rid the world of America and Sergeant Slaughter in that order. And then the final match of the day, the Tonga Kid, who I wonder if they're getting ready to replace Jimmy Snuka even at this point. Tony Russo is not related to Vince, to the best of my knowledge, is the opponent for the Tonga Kid. Tonga Kid, one of my favorite island talents who, to me, never really went quite far enough. Side headlock takeover and other basic stuff here. Tonga Kid not taking too much of a backward step. Russo gets a hold of the leg, but a bit of an arm bar there. And Kid uses a head scissors takeover and takes his man all the way over. And wins with a couple of martial arts chops and a bit of a flying splash. And then we see the end of this particular program. We will move on and move forward. Until next time, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.